let's do some politics.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
your blood.
Gons, in the spirit of this article, this will be brief. This is coming from Wired.com. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wields brevity as a superpower.
Superpower!
Skilled in the consciousness of Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, the congressperson said all she needed to say in the short time she was given at the DNC. And long story short, they say, hey, we love AOC because she keeps it brief, short and sweet. And that's her superpower. So, apparently, nobody else can do that, including apparently myself.
Well, you know what's funny about this is AOC's superpower is to appeal to the lost attention span of a generation.
Yes, our goldfish generation.
Our goldfish generation is in, you got to communicate something to this generation that has a 2-second attention span. Roll out AOC. Just let her summarize all the intertwining complexities of reality and politics, and just, have her say it in just a few words, and all the kids will be fully informed. Yeah.
Fun detail. She endorsed Bernie Sanders. She did not endorse Joe Biden, which is pretty funny. But as I understand it, Joe Biden did officially get the nomination for the DNC. Is it for presidential campaign starting next year? Are they giving it to him? They're actually giving it to him?
I don't know.
I cannot get into this New York Times article.
Which one? Is it
the one of the Twitter clip of her 90-second speech?
Oh.
The one that they are praising her for?
There's a Vine. I'm trying to look for the link here. Wrote the cut.
It's about, halfway down or something.
Monday keynote.
I have not heard a whole bunch about the DNC nominations. I mean, I guess it's just a nomination, but it seems like a bigger piece of news than what it's being treated. I mean, Biden gets the nomination for the DNC presidential candidate, which has been a big sort of sticking point in the Democratic Party for quite some time now. And the most reporting I've seen about it is AOC is fast at talk good.
It's her superpower. Wired.com. Okay. Wired. Yeah. All right. Well, what we got some from Mr. Hairy Legs over there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, check out this guy, Hairy Legs. You got Hairy Legs around
Hairy
there?
Legs. I did not prepared with the jingle.
That's
which
okay.
is my
That's okay.
fault.
I'll
have it. Here it is.
No problemo.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Hairy COVID.
Hairy COVID. It's coming from CNN.com. Headline: Biden calls for dropping filibusters rules to pass abortion rights into law. Boring. Now, what I wanted to do is read just a piece of this. It refers to Roe v. Wade and, how the Democrats, they could have codified this into law. I don't know, anytime they've been in control over the past 50 years. But my point has always been that they don't want to codify it into law. They are not interested in preserving what they claim to think are human rights, the right to what they would describe as bodily autonomy, which includes abortion. And the reason they don't want to actually codify it into law is because over and over again, every single election cycle, they get to hold liberal thinking people, whether they are Democrats or want to be Democrats or don't want to be Democrats. The Democrats have very effectively held them hostage by telling them, by using Roe v. Wade and the codifying of Roe v. Wade into law as the carrot on the stick to activate the Democratic base. And this, some people have sort of kind of sloughed off this theory or this idea because, nobody's outright said it. Well, let's get into it. President Joe Biden said on Thursday that he would support making an exception to the filibuster, the 60-vote threshold in the Senate needed to pass most legislation in order to codify abortion rights. Oh, they're going to codify abortion rights, Gons. They're going to finally do it, I bet, for real. And the right to privacy through legislation passed by Congress. However, despite Biden's newly announced support for the filibuster carve-out, his best bet in doing so would be next year, and only if the Democrats gain at least 2 Senate seats and hold the House of Representatives, an extremely tall task. Asked about what executive action he would use to strengthen abortion rights following the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade last week, Biden said during a news conference in Madrid, quote, why is he doing it in Madrid?
He's
Quote,
there for, I forget what he was there for. He was there for some.
It's funny talking to a domestic audience while you're overseas. It's the only way to get them to care about why you're in Madrid. Quote, the most important thing we have to change, I believe, we have to codify Roe v. Wade into law. Quote, and the way to do that is to make sure Congress votes to do that. And if the filibuster gets in the way, it's like voting rights. It should be that we provide an exception to this, requiring an exception to the filibuster for this action to deal with the Supreme Court decision. So this is all kind of focused on balancing out what they see as an imbalance in the branches of government. The president then clarified that he was also open to changing filibuster, etc., etc., etc. But he says right there, Hey, we're going to do it. We're for real going to do it this time, okay, Democrats? But it's only going to happen if all the Democrats come out and vote for all the Democrats.
Vote.
What? What is this noise you're doing?
I'm saying vote. Vote.
You're saying, yeah. Vote. So same old, over and over again. But it's kind of fun. They just straight up said, like, yeah, we'll do what you want. We promise. Wink. But let's turn around these midterms. And it seems to be working, Gons. It does seem to be sort of fighting against the red tide. Wait, that's not right. The red wave.
The red wave.
Yeah.
The blue tide against the red wave. Is that what this is?
Something.
Yeah.
And that's that. But you're going to see more and more of this. And in your conversations, dear listener, with the beloved liberals in your life, whether they be family or friend, sometimes it's good to remind them that if they think that Biden is going to deliver on his promise to codify Roe v. Wade, remember that he has literally been in office longer than Roe v. Wade has existed. And he's promised to codify it, and never has.
There is something to be said about that. There aren't many politicians that can be in politics for as long as Joe Biden has.
I know.
He's an accomplished man, Basil. How dare we laugh at his inability to form sentences in public places?
What? He's accomplished, not that he has actually accomplished anything, but just being there, for that
Talk
long.
About riding some coattails, huh?
Uh-huh. All right.